University of Colorado, thank you. What a beautiful turnout today on a beautiful day. Let me begin by thanking Nina Turner, not just for her introduction. I want you to know that Nina has been traveling all over this country doing the most important work that must be done. And that is educating and organizing people to stand up and fight for economic, social, racial, and environmental justice. And let me tell you that the midterm election taking place on November 6th is the most important midterm election in the modern history of this country. And Colorado can help lead the way for progressive government by electing Jared Polis as your next governor and Joe Neguse as your next member of Congress. And while I'm here in Colorado, I want to take the opportunity to thank you for the great work that the people of this state have done in so many areas. All of you know that we have more people in jail in America than any other country, that our criminal justice system is broken and in many ways a racist system. And as part of that broken criminal justice system, we have a so-called war on drugs that has failed and failed miserably. And I want to thank Colorado for leading this country in a new way by legalizing marijuana. And because of your leadership, state after state is following. Thank you, Colorado. And I want to thank Colorado for raising the minimum wage. Nobody in Colorado or in America who works 40 hours a week should live in poverty. You raise the minimum wage to $12 an hour. That's a good start. We've got to get to $15 an hour. And I want to thank the workers at Amazon. We work with many of those employees to stand up to Jeff Bezos. As a result, many thousands of workers in Amazon in Colorado will be making $15 an hour. And I want to thank the workers at Unite here who work at United Airlines for standing together and creating a union so they can negotiate for good wages. What this election will come down to is one word, and that is turnout. Today in America, as all of you know, we have a corrupt campaign system which allows billionaires to buy elections. We have in many states around this country a coordinated effort at voter suppression to make it harder for people of color, poor people, young people to vote. 4 years ago, in 2014, in America, we had the lowest voter turnout since World War II. working people didn't come out to vote in large numbers. People of color did not come out to vote in large numbers. And young people did not to come out to vote in large numbers. The result of that low voter turnout, where almost 2 out of 3 Americans did not vote, was that right-wing Republicans gained control of the House and the Senate in Washington and won many governor's chairs all over this country. In 2014, we had the lowest voter turnout in modern history. In 2018, with your help, we're going to have the highest voter turnout in American history. Now, I know that all of you who are here are going to be voting for Jared. You're going to be voting for Joe. But I'm here to ask you to do something more than just vote for these progressive champions. I am asking you to reach out to your friends, to your co-workers, to your family members, and drag them to the polls. It looks to me like we have maybe 3,000 people here today, and that's great. But if each one of you can bring out 3 additional people to vote, that 3,000 votes for Jared and Joe become 12,000 votes. Let's do it. Let me say a word now to some of the folks in Colorado who voted for Donald Trump. And a majority of people in this great state did not vote for him, but many did. And I suspect that many people who voted for Trump actually believed the words that he was saying during the campaign. At that point in 2016, they did not know what we know today, that the President of the United States is a pathological liar who will say anything at any time to win votes, but the next day will do exactly the opposite. During the campaign of 2016, Donald Trump told the American people and the people of Colorado that he would provide health care to everybody. Then he got elected and led the effort to repeal the Affordable Care Act and throw 32 million people off of the health care that they have. And I want you just to think for a moment about people who have cancer, heart disease, other life-threatening illnesses, what it would mean to them to lose the insurance that keeps them alive. Many of them would grow sicker. Some of them would die. That is what Trump was pushing. And then Trump said during his campaign, he said he was going to take on the drug companies. He was going to lower drug prices in America. Well, he lied again, because in the last 2 years, the prices of medicine in this country have soared. During his campaign for president, Trump told the American people, he said, I am a different type of Republican. I am not going to cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. Well, he lied again, because in his last budget, he proposed $1 trillion cut to Medicaid, $500 billion for Medicare, and $72 billion for the Social Security Disability Fund. And just the other week, Trump made another outrageous lie, although I must tell you, it is very hard to keep up with his outrageous lies. But this one was of particular importance. He was on, I believe, 60 Minutes. And he said, well, you know, scientists, the American people, we're not sure about climate change. There are differences of opinion. So let me tell Mr. Trump that that is a lie. That 99% of the scientists who study our climate understand that climate change is real, that it is caused by human activity, that it is already doing devastating harm to our planet. And some of you may have recently seen the report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And what they said is that if in the next 12 years we do not take on the fossil fuel industry, if we do not substantially lower the amount of carbon that gets into our atmosphere, if we do not transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, if we don't do those things in a bold and dramatic fashion, the planet that we will be leaving to our kids and our grandchildren will be a planet that is unhealthy, uninhabitable, and we will not allow that to happen. And I want to say a word, I want to say a special word now to the young people who are here and why this election is so very important. And that is, in my view, having been all over this country, the young generation of today is the most progressive generation in the history of America. Your generation is leading this country against sexism, against racism, against homophobia, against religious bigotry. And you are standing up on every front for the fight for social and economic justice, and I thank you very much. But I also want to say to the younger generation, those under 30, that while your ideals are strong and right, your views will not matter, will not be heard unless you translate those ideas into political action. And unless we elect people who will carry out those views. And that is what this election is about. Our job right now is to end a government which works overtime for wealthy campaign contributors and the top 1%. Our job is to create a government in Colorado and Vermont and every other state in the country and the United States Congress, a government that stands for all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. And in this election, we are going to tell Donald Trump, who loves all of these dictators all over the world. You know, Donald Trump is a tough guy. He grabs his people, grab little children from the arms of their mothers. And he thinks that makes him a tough guy. But when it comes to standing up to Putin, he ain't so tough.